The Lusitani were a Celtic Iberian tribal group that lived in the region that is now known as Portugal. They were one of many such groups in Hispania, the Roman name for the Iberian Peninsula. In 206 BCE, after Rome had conquered the Carthaginian territories in southern Spain, the native Iberians revolted. Viriathus was born in 180 BCE in the hills and wild lands of Lusitania. As a child, he spent his days tending sheep and exploring the rugged landscape that surrounded his home. But as Viriathus grew older, he saw the Roman governors as men of greed and oppression. He watched as they exploited the neighboring tribes and imposed their dictates on the Lusitani. And when the Lusitani's complaints to the Roman Senate went unheeded, Viriathus knew that they could no longer sit idly by. It was then when the Lusitani resumed hostilities with Hispania Ulterior in 154 BCE. Viriathus was in his 20s at this time. 2 years later, they defeated the governor of Hispania Ulterior, Servius Sulpicius Galba. Although the Lusitani remained determined to fight, the years of war had taken a toll on them. Exhausted by the destruction of their homes and the loss of their people, the Lusitani sent envoys to Galba to negotiate peace. Galba is recorded as having told them that he understood their reasons for making war, saying, "I will give my poor friends good land and settle them in a fertile country in 3 divisions." In 150 BCE, Viriathus joined the thousands of Lusitani who gathered in their villages with their possessions, carts, livestock, and weapons in an effort to surrender to Rome. When they arrived, they were told by Roman soldiers to divide themselves into 3 groups, each escorted by legionaries and auxiliaries. The first group was asked to lay down their weapons as a sign of their peaceful intentions, which they did. Then, they watched in fear as the Romans dug a trench around them and forcibly separated the Lusitani of fighting age, killing them on the spot. The others were taken as slaves. The other 2 groups were treated in the same manner. Only a few people managed to escape the slaughter. Viriathus was one of the survivors of the massacre of the Lusitani by Galba, and he swore to seek revenge against Rome. In 147 BCE, Viriathus became the leader of a Lusitani army that raided into the Roman-controlled region of Turdetania. The Roman legate Gaius Vetilius responded with force, trapping the Lusitani against a river. The Lusitani sent envoys with olive branches to Vetilius, pleading for more fertile land to settle on. Vetilius agreed to their demands, but only if they surrendered their weapons. Viriathus refused, reminding the tribesmen of Galba's betrayal. The Romans fought back, but they suffered heavy losses, with over 4,000 casualties, including legate Vetilius. As Viriathus' reputation grew, more and more tribesmen joined his cause. He was seen as a leader who was able to defy the Romans and emerge victorious. In 146 BCE, Viriathus led a successful raid into the fertile Carpetani lands and then retreated before a larger Roman force. He then turned and attacked the Roman column, causing significant casualties. Despite this victory, Viriathus was eventually worn down by attrition and retreated from central Spain to Lusitania. Later, as the Romans gained victories in the Fourth Macedonian War and the Third Punic War, they were able to allocate more resources to the conflict in Spain. Viriathus eventually offered peace terms. He demanded that the Lusitani borders be respected and that the Lusitani be recognized as friends of the Roman people. The Roman governor accepted these terms, and the Roman Senate ratified them. However, Roman pride was bruised by the fact that a guerrilla leader had humbled them, and the Romans continued to provoke the Lusitani until war broke out again in 140 BCE. The Lusitani were ready to seek peace. Lienus was willing to grant it, but only if Roman deserters and all weapons were handed over. Viriathus, hesitant to give up his weapons, chose 3 of his close friends, Audax, Ditalco, and Meneuros, to negotiate further. Viriathus, who had been successful in outsmarting his enemies for years, did not realize that the danger came from those closest to him. After returning from negotiations with the Romans, his 3 friends visited him in his tent at night. They told the guard that they needed to speak with Viriathus urgently, and so were allowed in. Then, while 2 of them held him down, the 3rd stabbed him in the back. When the murder was discovered at dawn, Viriathus' followers were filled with grief and rage. The 3 conspirators fled to the Romans, but when they asked for the remainder of their payment, they were told that Rome does not reward traitors. Viriathus' body was dressed in rich garments and cremated on a funeral pyre. Despite the efforts of a warrior named Tantalus to continue the resistance, many Lusitani surrendered to Lienus in 139 BCE.